We sing glory, honor, power, and strength to the Lord.
Good evening. Good to see everyone this evening. Talk a little bit about compassion, moved by compassion. We look at Matthew chapter 9, beginning with verse 35. It says, "And Jesus went about all the cities and villages, teaching in their synagogues and preaching the gospel of the kingdom and healing every sickness, every disease among the people. But when he saw the multitudes, he was moved with compassion on them because they fainted and were scattered abroad as sheep having no shepherd." I think there's a major problem with many people today concerning evangelism because there's just a lack of motivation. I think we've just gotten content doing nothing. There are so many Christians that have just, I guess, let their get up and go. It's gone. When it comes to teaching others about Christ and sharing the gospel. And before you know it, years have gone by and time goes by and we just get content with the way we live and what we're doing. And many Christians don't even seem troubled by the fact that they just find themselves taking a seat and sitting down and not doing anything. I think proper motivation is sort of like the steam that drives that old steam locomotive. If it didn't have the steam, it can't get up and go. It just can't move. It was only after a fire was built and after the water was heated and after it was turned to steam that it got that locomotive moving and was able to do its job. And I think it's the same with Christians and being motivated. When the proper motivation is in place, then that steam will take hold and then the job will be done. Even if we don't quite know how to do it, I think with the right motivation, we won't be able to rest unless we do something for the Lord. What motivated Jesus to save the lost? What prompted him to come to this earth? What drove him to go from city to city with the gospel and preaching the gospel and telling people about God's kingdom? What moved him to endure the shame and pain of the cross and to die for everyone? And I want to look at some of these reasons. What motivated Christ? And after all, he's our teacher. And we can get some of the motivation that motivated him. Maybe we can be better motivated with compassion. How about his strong sense of purpose to do his Father's will? He, even if he didn't want to do it, he did it. He prayed in the Garden of Gethsemane, "If this cup could pass from me, Father, let it be. But not my will be done, but thine be done." So he put God's will ahead of his own. And it was a sense of a purpose to do the Father's will. Can we relate that in our lives? Can we relate the fact that no matter what, we need to make a choice to do the Father's will, to do God's will? John 6 and verse 38, actually it's 35 to 38, says, "And Jesus went about all the cities and villages, teaching the synagogues and preaching the gospel of the kingdom, healing every sickness and disease among the people." And I've gotten, I think I'm redoing that. It didn't move forward. Went off. I lost it. Did it go off back here? No, it's good. Okay. It says, "For I came down from heaven not to do mine own will, but the will of him that sent me." I think we need to keep that in mind when we're working for God's kingdom. Whose kingdom is it? It's God's. We need to do His will and be motivated by the fact that it's God's will and He knows us better than anyone else. How about because of God's love that He wanted to share? Do you think that God wanted to share the love that He had for everyone? I think He did. Our opening Bible scripture was John 3:16. Of course, everybody knows that. For God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son. Through His love, it motivated Him to send His Son so that souls could be saved. John 15:9 says, as the Father hath loved me, so have I loved you, so continue in my love. We're looking at the examples of Christ. He's saying, as God has loved Him and loved us, continue in that love. How about because He feared for the eternal welfare of mankind? I'm talking about Jesus and why He was moved by compassion, why He loved souls of the people and doing God's will. He feared for the eternal welfare of mankind. Matthew 10:28 says, fear not them that can kill the body, but can't kill the soul, but rather fear Him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. Do we have compassion for those that we know that are lost? Do we fear for their eternal destiny because we know that they're not on the right track? How about the joy that Christ received for being able to sacrifice Himself in our place? He laid down His life so that we wouldn't have to. What a love. Hebrews 12:2 says, looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before Him endured the cross. And certainly He did. And He did it to be obedient to the Father. But, we talk all the time that the Bible tells us He could have called leagues of angels down to take Him off that cross. He didn't even have to allow Himself to be arrested, to stand in those mock trials and hearings. But He did. Knowing some of the reasons that Christ did what He did and was able to do and have compassion on people should help motivate us to be more compassionate in the way that we deal with other people. I want to talk about a reason that we haven't talked about yet. It was mentioned in the opening scripture. We read about the ministry of Jesus in Matthew chapter 9. But verse 36 said, but when He saw the multitudes, He was moved with compassion for them. How often are we really moved with compassion for people? I know occasionally we get moved with compassion when we see